Today I'm going to be reviewing the new Titleist Tour Speed. Now this is something completely different from the #1 ball brand in golf. And in this video I'm going to run through the technology that's packed in here and give you a good idea of what it is that makes this golf ball so different from anything Titleist have made in the past. I'll also give you a good idea of who it's aimed at and let you know how I got on after testing it out in the golf course, and also while comparing it to the Pro V1 and the Tour Soft. I'll just give you a good idea of where Tour Speed is sitting within the current lineup. First off though, before I run into all that, if you're new to our YouTube channel, please hit that subscribe button below, give us a thumbs up if you enjoy this video, and if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments and I'll get back to you. So what is it that makes Tour Soft so different? Well, it's the first Titleist golf ball to feature a thermoplastic urethane cover, or TPU for short. And I'm sure plenty of you are scratching your heads thinking, what on earth does that mean? And really the best way of putting it is to compare it with the Pro V1 and the Tour Soft. So the Pro V1, along with the Pro V1X and the AVX, Titleist's premium performance golf balls, tour level quality, they have a cast urethane cover, and it's that cast urethane cover that means the best players in the world put their trust in these golf balls. It's what gives them their fantastic control, feel and spin around the greens. The Tour Soft, it features an ionomer cover, so this is a different material entirely. Titleist call it their 4CE grafted cover. And although this cover system is going to be soft and responsive, it's not going to be as good as the cast urethane of the Pro V1 or Pro V1X and AVX. It's just not going to give you quite as much spin control, from around the greens and short distances into the pin. The TPU cover, the thermoplastic urethane of the Tour Speed, sits right in between these two. So you can think of it as good, better and best. So you're going to get good short game control from Tour Soft, but you're going to be sacrificing a little bit. It does have a lower price point. We then move up to something that's about £40 per dozen, the Tour Soft, and you've got thermoplastic urethane. So it's a urethane cover, it's going to be soft, it's going to be responsive, it's going to give you good feel and great spin around the greens. If, however, you then go up another £10 in price bracket, you have Pro V1, Pro V1X and AVX, and it's cast urethane cover. So that's the absolute best Titleist offer. It's going to be a little bit softer, a little bit more durable, and it's just, it's the best it can offer. But the Tour Speed is going to be really good. So this is now sitting in the middle of Titleist lineup, and it's something that they've never really done before. They've never had something with a urethane cover just below the Pro V1 sort of family. So it's quite an interesting new development from Titleist, but there's more to this golf ball than just the cover system. Now, Tour Speed is an entirely new golf ball from core to cover. It's a three-piece construction, and it has a new high-speed core formulation that's coupled with a fast ionomer casing layer. Now, it's these two layers that are leading Titleist to make some pretty bold claims in terms of performance. They're saying that it's going to be longer than pretty much any of its competitors, stuff in a similar price bracket. TaylorMade Tour Response, Callaway Chromesoft, Bridgestone, BRX. It's making really bold claims, and they say that these two layers are going to offer more ball speed and lower long game spin than their competitors. So they're really going for it with what they say this golf ball can do. They also say that the new dimple design, I think I'll try and get this right, the 346 quadrilateral pyramid dimple design is going to offer you a penetrating ball flight that's going to give you more distance, also help this thing perform in the wind. Then we have the new TPU cover. Now, this golf ball, it's not just been thrown together. Titleist really took their time in getting this golf ball correct. It is something entirely new from them. A TPU, a urethane cover that's going to sit just below the premium Pro V1 family, and they say that they spent a lot of time, and it was actually first released in the States as the EXP01, so an experimental golf ball that people in North America go and try out. It went through a lot of amateur testing to make sure it's got it right. They invested heavily in their ball plant facility in Massachusetts so that they could produce a TPU cover and just live up to the Titleist name, make sure that it was offering fantastic performance. Apart from that, we have a new side stamp, as you can see here. I think that looks pretty cool. I'm quite a fan of that. I think it'll be good on the greens for a lot of people, and yeah, it passes the old bike test. It's nice and soft. So really bold claims in terms of performance, but does it stack up? I think the best thing to do is now compare this with the Tour Soft and the Pro V1. So I tested all three of these golf balls earlier on using my SkyTrack, hitting full shots with my 7-iron, my 54-degree sandwich, and also the driver. Now, the Pro V1, it's the golf ball I use in all of my testing. It's the golf ball I use when I play golf. It suits me perfectly, along with the Pro V1X and the AVX. It's the best that Titleist offer. And yeah, it's my go-to golf ball. So it's good to compare the numbers with, because the Tour Speed is going to sit slightly below Pro V1. in terms of performance. And then Tour Soft, although they're in a similar category, the speed and the soft, the Tour Speed should probably offer a little bit more, just because it has that urethane cover, so should get a little bit more performance. So we'll start with the 7-iron numbers. You can see that there's not a great deal of difference when we look at the distances. They're all going the kind of distance I would expect. Pro V1 doing exactly what I'm used to seeing with my 7-iron. But then you can see the spin rates drop as we go to Tour Speed and Tour Soft. Launch angles up a little bit with Tour Speed, so that's why I was getting a little bit of extra distance, and that's what Titleist are saying. You're going to get good ball speed, but also lower long game spin to give you more distance. So a couple of extra yards there, but the lower spin is giving me a little bit of extra distance. Not a great deal, but a little bit. With the 7-iron, Tour Soft, it's launching a fraction lower than Pro V1, but also spinning less. So again, that's probably going to offer me a little bit more distance just because of the drop in spin. If we then go on to the 54-degree wedge, so hitting full sandwich shots, this is where we should really start to see a bit of a difference, because this is where the urethane covers, the cast urethane cover of the Pro V1, the thermoplastic urethane cover of the Tour Soft, and the ionomer cover of the Tour Soft. This is where they're really going to show the differences, when you start hitting your wedges and also when you get around the greens. So with the sand wedge, you can see just how much the Pro V1 is spinning. It's giving me the kind of flat trajectory I want. It's doing what I expect. I'm trying to hit 110 yards. Thankfully, I was managing to do that. 10,500 RPM. That's fantastic. It's giving me so much control from a short distance. We then go to Tour Speed, and you can see that spin has dropped down slightly, but we're still above 10,000 RPM, so it's still a very controllable golf ball. It's going to give you good feel, good response around the greens, and also when you get, kind of hitting full wedge shots. With Tour Soft, it's launching, similar to the Pro V1, but it's spinning less. So because we have that ionomer cover, it's just not grabbing in the grooves as much. It's not generating quite as much spin. And that just means that it's not giving me the maximum control that I really want, and that's what the Pro V1 delivers. We then go on to driver, and again, you start to see a little bit of difference. I was getting most ball speed from the Pro V1, perfect launch conditions, 12.9 degrees of launch, 2,346 RPM spin, distance fantastic. Just again, my golf ball, what I expect to see. And with Tour Speed, still very strong in terms of ball speed. Launch angle, pretty much the exact same as Pro V1, spinning a little bit higher with the driver, so the distance is down ever so slightly. And then we go to Tour Soft, the speed's dropped off a little bit, we're now at 161, launch angle a little bit lower, spin a little bit higher, so we're at 270 canny for 293. So not really surprising there. With my iron game, they're all going to do a similar job, but they're going to go about it in different ways. We're going to get a bit lower spin as we go into the tour models, and that might help some of you get more distance because it's going to give you great speed but lower spin, so you might get some more distance. As we then go into the full wedge shots, getting maximum spin from Pro V1, the cast urethane cover, the three-piece construction in this golf ball, no surprise there. Tour Speed offering great control with my sandwich shots, plenty of spin, and then the spin dropping off a little bit with Tour Soft. By no means hardly any spin, but good levels of spin. But it just shows you how these three are separated. But where they really stand out, the differences, is out on the golf course. Don't get me wrong, the TPU cover of the Tour Speed is fantastic. It gives you great control, great stopping power, great spin around the greens, and you notice a difference compared with Tour Soft. It's just that little bit more responsive. It's giving you that little bit of added confidence to be aggressive when you're faced with a tricky up and down or a short pitch shot into the green. But when you go to the Pro V1, it's offering the best. You can feel how soft that cover is. You can just see it reacting on the greens that little bit quicker, just giving you the control you need to, wedge it close, try and shoot some low scores, get up and down when you need to, give yourself birdie opportunities. So no surprise that the Pro V1 was performing the best, but Tour Speed, I think this is a great addition to Titleist lineup because they didn't really have something in this category. It costs about £40 per dozen, sitting just below the Pro V1 family, but above Tour Soft, above Velocity or the True Fuel that they currently have in the lineup. So this is a really interesting product from Titleist. I think it was something that they needed to bring out because pretty much every other manufacturer has that kind of, I would almost call it a tour ball light. It's got that TPU cover, It's not going to be quite as good as the premium offerings, the absolute best kind of stuff you'll see tour players using, but it's going to be really good, and it's going to be a little bit cheaper. So I think this is a really interesting golf ball for a lot of you out there. You know, if you struggle to justify spending all the money on a Pro V1, because let's face it, they can be expensive. If you're losing golf balls during a round of golf, it can hurt. So I think having something that is about £10 less in terms of recommended retail price is going to be a big draw for a lot of you. And, you know, although the Tour Soft will be a good golf ball for a lot of you, there's no doubt you're going to get more from Tour Speed. Just it's a matter of fact that a TPU cover, a urethane cover, is going to offer more than the ionomer of the Tour Soft. So it's about finding the right one for you. I've been impressed with Tour Speed. You know, it's a Titleist golf ball. It was always going to be very good at what it does. But I'm so glad to see them bring something out that kind of sits in between these two, really. You know, something that's going to offer a little bit more than Tour Soft, especially around the greens, but it's cheaper than Pro V1. You're not sacrificing much in terms of performance. You know, if you want the absolute best, you go for Pro V1, but it's good to now have this option there. So hopefully that's given you a good idea of everything Tour Speed has to offer. If you have any questions about this golf ball or any other golf balls in the Titleist lineup, then please leave a comment down below. I'll get back to you. Do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit that thumbs up button if you've enjoyed this video, and thank you very much for watching.